Welcome, Spirit Fam. On today's episode, we are talking about the importance of having a spiritual routine and/or practice to further your growth and ascension along your soul's journey. Welcome, 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 Spirit Fam. Welcome back to another enlightening episode of Eileen Into Spirit. I'm so excited and delighted to be here with you today as we talk about having a spiritual routine and/or practice. And we ultimately talk about the importance of having this spiritual routine so that we can grow and ascend more rapidly. I want to point out here, Spirit Fam, that we entered a time in our world where having some form of spiritual routine or practice is not only important, but is vital to our growth and ascension. I sort of find that in the intricate tapestry of our existence, establishing a spiritual routine stands as a cornerstone for profound spiritual growth. Just as the body thrives on physical nourishment and exercise, the soul flourishes through consistent spiritual practice. A dedicated routine creates a sacred space within our daily lives, allowing us to connect deeply with our inner selves and the divine energy that flows throughout the universe. This connection is not only comforting, but essential for nurturing our spiritual well being. One of the most important things that I hope you take away with you today, here on this podcast, is that consistency is the key. Consistency in a spiritual practice, whether it be doing meditation, prayer, journaling, reading books, it basically allows us to cultivate a steady rhythm of introspection and mindfulness. This regular engagement with our spiritual side helps us to remain centered amidst the chaos that often occurs in our daily life. As we commit to these practices, we begin to notice subtle shifts in our perception, a heightened sense of clarity, and an overall feeling of peace. Our hearts begin to open, our minds begin to expand, and we become more attuned to the whispers of our intuition and the signs from the universe. Furthermore, having a spiritual routine acts as an anchor, grounding us in moments of uncertainty and turbulence. It becomes a source of strength and resilience, reminding us of our innate connection to something greater than ourselves. Through this nurturing framework, we not only foster personal growth, but we also cultivate a deeper sense of empathy and compassion for others. Overall, a spiritual routine is not just a daily ritual, but a transformative journey that elevates our soul, enriches our lives, and brings us closer to the divine essence that resides within us all. So, I want to share with you here, Spirit Fam, that my actual soul journey has had its many ups and downs. But I didn't really become real serious with my spiritual routine or my spiritual practice until 2019. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know that 2019 was a very transformative year, and it was the year where everything began to fall apart in my life. And it made me really question a lot of things, even my own spiritual beliefs and my spirituality. Now, I will share with you that my spiritual journey has grown tremendously since I began incorporating a spiritual routine in day life. 2019 was the year I marked as my journey of the dark night of the soul. And we will talk about the dark night of the soul experience on another episode, but I feel that many people right now are sort of experiencing those lows right now. And the reason I wanted to talk about incorporating a spiritual practice is because now is the time where you need to truly be connected, not only with yourself, but with your spiritual team and with the universe. And developing a spiritual practice helps you establish that connection and be fully grounded in that connection. And it often helps you to truly understand what is transpiring in your life while you are going through it. Now, 2019 was the year for me where I literally had to let go of everything in my life that was no longer bringing me any sense of joy or satisfaction. I truly felt like I had to sort of wipe the barrel clean, as one would say, and I had to completely start all over. There were things that I was doing in my everyday life that I thought I loved, that I thought I enjoyed. And the more that I looked at it, the more I realized I hated every aspect of it. I couldn't stand anything about it. And it just sort of felt like it was forced, like I was doing something for the benefit of other individuals or doing it because somebody else asked me to. It wasn't something that I thoroughly wanted to do. And so it was the year that I really had to look at everything, every hobby that I had, every person that was in my life, and I started cutting them out, just cutting things out, letting them go, truly alleviating myself from the things that I felt were sort of restricting me or holding me down from truly experiencing joy and happiness in my life. Now, I will say that by doing all of that, it gave me so much time, so much freedom to be able to really ask myself some serious questions. What did I want out of life? What did I really want to experience? What did I really want to sort of have in my life? And I'll tell you that having all of that time made me wonder if I was truly on the right path. And so, as I slowly started picking up the pieces of what was left of my time and of my friends, is when I started to really set clearer intentions. And I started creating time for myself. Because in the midst of everything that I was doing, there was something within that experience that I realized I lost a little bit of myself. It was almost like I couldn't recognize myself. No matter how many times I looked in the mirror and I would see my own reflection, it was almost as if I was staring at someone I didn't understand, someone that I didn't know. It wasn't who I thought I was. And this is sort of, as a spiritual coach, this is something that I often identify as seeing yourself through the eyes of other people. You begin to sort of build your life around the expectations or the anticipations of other individuals because there's a part of you that sort of feels that you have to sort of conform to what it is that they're expecting of you. Otherwise, they won't love you or you don't feel worthy enough, right? And so for me, building the spiritual practice was all about learning to understand myself, learning to discover who I truly was apart from other people's expectations, other people's perceptions, other people's beliefs. It was sort of like I was unlearning how to be someone for someone, and I was learning how to be one with myself. So I want you to know that creating a spiritual routine is a deeply personal journey that aligns you with your inner essence and divinity. And my own experience truly proved that. I was unlearning and discovering who I was not. And by recognizing that, by witnessing that, by experiencing that, I was able to truly understand who I was as I continued to sort of focus on myself and make time for myself to connect with myself inwardly and my spirit team. So I want to share with you 5 steps that I feel will guide you on your sacred path to creating a spiritual routine. Now, I understand that not everyone has all of the time in the world. And so I don't want you to look at this as something that you absolutely have to do and it has to take up a certain amount of time. It does not. I want you to start off small. I don't want you to sort of create this large spiritual practice and then it just becomes something that you dread or that you rush through because you feel like there's just not enough time. You need to make this personal for yourself and really look at how much time you actually have and slowly, my friends, incorporate the things, start adding things in. But I feel these are the 5 steps that will get you started on that path. Number 1, it's all about intention. What is your intention? You have to set your intention. Now, setting your intention is all about setting a clear and heartfelt intention of your spiritual practice. What exactly is it that you are wanting to get out of this spiritual practice? I feel that is the most important thing when you begin a spiritual practice or a spiritual routine. What are you wanting to get out of it? What intention are you truly setting when creating this? Now, understand that this intention might be to connect more deeply with your higher self, or it might be to cultivate inner peace or to feel just sort of a divine presence in your everyday life. But understand that by setting an intention, you invite the universe to support and guide you in your spiritual endeavors. Understand that by setting this intention, you are intending to create a bond with your spirit team, with yourself, and the universe. Number 2, create a sacred space. I feel that setting your intention and creating a sacred space are the 2 biggest things that you must really, truly take your time with. And I say this because it took me a while to really find a sacred space, a space that, number 1, made me feel like home. Number 2, made me feel safe and allowed me to genuinely uncover who I was and what I loved. So creating a sacred space is all about creating a space that helps you feel serene and it allows you to feel sacred. Now, this could be a special area in your home. It could be someplace else. It could be like in an office somewhere. Just pick an area that feels like home, that feels safe, and that makes you feel sacred. And I point this out as being of great importance because if you don't feel comfortable in this space, then it's not your sacred space. And let me give you an example. So I live in a 3-bedroom house, and one of the rooms we created into an office, right? And it sort of began as a meditation room. It was strictly to be for meditation. And that's initially what it started out as. It started out as a space that we could go into and that we could pray, we could meditate. All of our spiritual things were in this room. And so this was the area that became very sacred to me because it was a space where I felt like I could be myself. And and when I say sacred space, this is exactly what I mean. From the moment I stepped foot through the door of my meditation room, all of my frustrations, all of my concerns just dropped at the door. I felt light. I felt loved. I felt nurtured. I had no concerns, no qualms, no anything the moment I walked through the door of my meditation room because I knew that it was a place of peace. It was a place of serenity for me, a place for me to unwind and a place for me to feel grounded and whole and connected. Now, you can create this sacred space however you desire, whatever it is that makes you feel comfortable, whatever it is that makes you feel like you. You can put crystals, candles, incense. You can put objects on the wall, whatever it is. Just it has to be a personal space that feels sacred and personal to you. You can often look at this space as a sanctuary. It is where you reconnect with your spiritual essence. And I want to point out that everything in my meditation room helps me to be sacred, the sacred light being that I am. I feel confident in this space. It's the place that I create these amazing, beautiful things for you. Number 3, making sure that you create and incorporate some daily rituals or daily practices in your spiritual routine. This can be anything from, meditating, prayer, journaling, where you read spiritual books. But the biggest thing with this is that it's about creating a routine that works for you. Now, I say this because this is one of the things that I think often deters people from creating a spiritual practice or a spiritual routine because they immediately want to take a giant bite out of the elephant, not realizing that you're going to choke if you try to eat it all at once, if you try to take that massive bite, right? So it's always easier if you take smaller bites. You'll be able to process it a little bit better. And as a spiritual life coach, when I work with individuals and I help them create their own spiritual practices, a lot of times they want to do the whole gamut. They want to do everything. They're like, I want to do an hour of meditation. I want to create incantations. They want to do all of these amazing things. And while I encourage them, yes, that's great. I also get them to be a little bit more practical about how much time in your day do you have to commit to this? Because the important thing with the spiritual routine, as I mentioned earlier, is consistency. Consistency is key, right? So it's really taking into account how much time do you have in your day? Where do you find that you have the most time? And so a lot of times people will often say, I don't have enough time in my day. There isn't enough time. Inevitably, when I'm coaching them, I'll often ask them, okay, give me a rundown of what your day looks like, right? And a lot of times they might be telling me, I just don't have enough time in my day. But the more that I sort of get them to open up about their day and what their day looks like, we'll often find 10, 15 minutes somewhere, right? Somewhere in their day that they can sort of sit and create that spiritual practice and do that spiritual practice, right? So if you're someone who comes home and the first thing you do is turn on the television and you waste 45 minutes sitting in front of the television, that's time that you can use for yourself. And I understand that a lot of people usually unwind by watching television or they unwind by scrolling their phone or playing a game. But my first thing is when creating a spiritual practice here is really asking yourself, is creating a spiritual practice important to you? Because if it is important to you, then you will make the time to be consistent and committed to uncovering your essence and building that bond with your spiritual team. So as you really look at your day, you look at your time, how much time do you really have? Now, when I started my spiritual practice, I'm going to be very open and very honest with you, 30 minutes. That was it. All I had was 30 minutes. And what I chose to do was meditation because I felt like I needed that 30 minutes to be able to quiet my mind. And people often struggle with meditation. And there are many different types of meditation that you can do. It doesn't mean that you have to do the same type of meditation that everybody else does. Some people meditate when they go for a walk and they just observe nature. Some people meditate when they read, right? It's all about quieting the mind. And so it's about understanding what it is you need the most that will help you feel connected to your team and to yourself and to nature and to the universe, and making sure that you are consistent and committed to doing that on a daily basis. So in the beginning, for me, it was just 30 minutes. So every morning I would get up, I would go to my meditation room, I would find my meditation music, and it's just plain music. It's just plain music. No words, because words often tend to distract me when I'm just trying to quiet the mind and just let things be still. Okay. And I would set a timer on my phone for 30 minutes. And what I did was I would put headphones on, because if I just listened to it without the headphones, I could easily get distracted by any other sound. And so for me, I recognized that sound was very important for me to be connected. So now, as I have built my spiritual routine, there's a lot more that I actually incorporate into my day. But in the beginning, it was just meditation for 30 minutes. And I would literally close my eyes, listen to the meditation music for 30 minutes until my alarm went off. And then I would turn it off and then go on about my day with whatever it is I had to do. So the important thing is that as you begin to incorporate daily practices like meditation, prayer, journaling, whatever it is that calls to you, these practices will help you tune into that inner wisdom that is within you, and it'll help you maintain a strong spiritual connection. Now, the fourth step is connecting with nature. I feel that it's important for you to note that when you spend time in nature, it helps ground you and attunes you to the natural rhythms of the earth. Nature is important. It's vital to your connection, right? Because it helps you sort of connect to that oneness where everything is interconnected, and make time for yourself. Now, I know that not everyone will go out in nature every single day and take a walk, but here's the thing that I want you to sort of understand here. Connecting with nature is all about being present. And you can do this in any type of way, whether it's taking a walk in the park, sitting by the ocean, or tending to a garden. Nature has a powerful way of reminding us of our interconnectedness with the divine. And connecting with nature helps us be more present. By being present, it allows us to truly understand how we are all interconnected. There are so many beautiful things within nature for us to truly observe, not respond to, but observe. And I feel the important thing with nature is that when we allow the beauty and the tranquility of the natural world to be present with us, it nourishes our spirit. It helps us feel connected and grounded because it helps us see the bigger picture. The last step is practicing gratitude and compassion. Now, in the beginning, when I was cutting things out left and right, and I was just letting stuff go, I decided that one of the things that I was going to start incorporating in my day was every night I would make a list of all the things that I was grateful for. I made sure that the list that I created every single night only listed all the things that I was grateful for. And the reason I did this was because I wanted to start practicing gratitude. Because what's the first thing that we do when we wake up in the morning? And I'm going to call some of you out here, and it's probably going to hit you in a way that you probably don't want it to hit you. But here it comes. How many of you wake up every single morning and the first thing out of your mouth is, oh, dang it, I got to go to work? Sometimes the first thing that we immediately bring to mind when we wake up every morning is something negative. And so it was important for me to remind myself every single day to find one thing to be grateful for, and to make sure that I wrote it down in a way that was positive and not negative. Because how many times have you told yourself that you wanted to be better at something, or that you wanted to change something about yourself, but you often sort of cut yourself verbally? We are hardest on ourselves and we're hard on other people because we have no shame in calling people out, just like I just called some of you out. But practicing gratitude and compassion basically cultivates a mindset that will change your life. And so I feel that practicing gratitude as a part of your spiritual routine is important. You want to start and end your day by reflecting on the things that you are grateful for. It's also important that you learn to extend compassion to not only yourself, but to others by recognizing the divine light in everyone. This practice opens your heart and aligns you with the loving energy of the universe. Even though these 5 steps, and you might be listening to these 5 steps and you're like, I know these things. Yes, we all know these things, but we don't practice these things. We don't utilize these things. And I want to point out that these 5 steps, and the reason I wanted to share them with you is because while they are so simple, they're still the hardest to do. Because again, it requires us to be a little bit more mindful. It requires us to be present. It requires us to really think about what it is that we are doing. I want you to understand, Spirit Fam, that embracing these steps with an open heart and a loving spirit, you will find yourself gradually aligning with your spiritual essence and divinity. And I want you to remember that your journey is unique to you and you alone. And I want to remind you that each step that you take is a beautiful expression of your soul's path. It's not about trying to outdo anyone else. Developing a spiritual practice and a spiritual routine is all about connecting with oneself. It's about connecting with you, aligning with you, understanding you, accepting you, and loving you. You know, in the beginning, when I started my own spiritual routine, and I told you I only started with 30 minutes. And little by little, after a while, I grew to a place where I only needed 5 minutes of meditation and I was ready. I was boom, ready to go. And so little by little, the more that you do this, the consistent that you are, remember, consistency is key. The more consistent that you are in your routine, the more you will be able to incorporate into your daily routine, and the further along you will grow. And I promise you, it becomes like second nature the more that you do it. So, Spirit Fam, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this enlightening journey today. I want you to know that your presence here is a testament to your commitment to personal growth and spiritual ascension. I am deeply grateful for your time and your energy and your openness to exploring the depths of your inner world with me. As I conclude this episode, let's take a brief moment to reflect on the importance of cultivating a spiritual routine. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, it is very easy to lose touch with our higher selves. Yet, it is within the quiet moments of introspection, meditation, and spiritual practice that we find the clarity and the strength that we need to navigate our paths with grace and purpose. Know that a consistent spiritual routine, whether it includes meditation, prayer, journaling, or simply amounts of mindful breathing, know that it acts as a sacred anchor. It grounds us, nourishes our souls, and aligns us with the divine flow of the universe. Remember, dear ones, that each step that you take on your spiritual journey is a step towards greater understanding peace, and love. Embrace your practices with an open heart and a curious mind, knowing that you are supported by the boundless love of the cosmos. I am honored to be a part of your journey, and I look forward to continuing to grow and ascend with you. Until next time, stay blessed, stay connected, and keep shining your beautiful light. Namaste.